I think growing up as it is really difficult, and I think finding your identity and figuring out your place in the world is difficult as it is. And then to have that complication of a heart condition, and I don't really think I ever connected with anyone else in my age group who also had a heart condition. So I felt really alone in the process. I don't have anyone in my family, it's not a genetic thing, who have also got heart conditions. So I felt like I was really on my own in that time. Not that my family weren't supportive, but I think it was very difficult for people to understand how it felt. I think growing up as well, as a young woman, as you've identified, there's a lot of body image issues that come up. I have this very funny story of being in the hospital that time I was 14, where my mum sat down with me and the surgeon and we were talking about the procedure, and my mum, he's the best surgeon in the country, top of the game. My mum sits him down, he said, well, you better keep that scar small because my daughter's going to want to wear low-cut tops one day. And I was so embarrassed. I was truly mortified that my mum had said this to the best surgeon in the country. But I get why she said that, because I'm lucky that my scar is quite hidden at the moment, but when it's going to move to quite a visible place, and that does play on my mind, and it doesn't affect my confidence. I realised last year that it would be my last university ball where I'd be able to wear a strapless dress without a scar being visible, and that made me quite upset. Those are, I guess, the things that have been playing on my mind as a woman with a heart condition.
When I was little, there was nothing remarkable. When I was a teenager, totally different story, because I had a scar, and so you feel different, and at an age when you want to be anything but different to anyone else, I felt that my scar was like a beacon. It was so noticeable, and in actual fact it's really not. But when you're a teenager and you just want to fit in with everyone else, I found it quite difficult having that. The scar's totally impacted my confidence over the years. It's gone up and down. I was never someone who really wore a bikini when I was in my teenage years and 20s. Didn't feel confident. It took a lot for me to start feeling that confident. People are curious, and if anything, it was often little kids or my little cousins who were like, "Why have you got that? What's that? What's that bit?" Or the drainage tube scars are a bit more noticeable down here, and so you'd be down the beach and they go, "What's that? What's the deal with that one?" So, but that's cousins for you. So yeah, funny thing is, you get a bit older and into your 30s, you kind of get over it, and it doesn't impact as much anymore. Like, I used to wear higher neck tops, and I used to be really, I'd put makeup on it and all that kind of stuff, but it really wasn't that noticeable. So it's just something that evolves over time. I think it's that as you get more confident, generally as you get older, it kind of fades into the background a bit.
I've got a few scars, and I have this great little poster little saying that I stuck up at my in my classroom wall in my office that just reminds me, and it says that to be proud of your scars because it's proof that you beat whatever it was that tried to hurt you. So I sort of look at it and think, well, I won. You didn't get me. And that's my take on it all. I know some people get very, very shy and very anxious about scars, but I guess maybe it's just because it's little, but I look at it and think, you didn't get me.
Having the body issues associated with the scar, not so much. The scar itself, which was the only real evidence of my condition, was barely visible. I was proud of it, made me different, so I embraced it. And then as I got older and had my second surgery, again, it makes me different, and I celebrate that. Cosmetically, initially, it was difficult. It was dark, a dark scar. It was painful. It was really, really rigid. It was, I don't know if you've ever seen an open heart surgery scar before, but it has there are openings underneath where they put the drainage tubes and things, and those I was not happy with post-surgery. So I did cover those up initially for probably about 6 months, I think, until my scar started fading. But yeah, I did explore the world of high necklines, which was in fashion at the time, which is great for me. So a win-win.
As parents, we thought, well, we like to keep things as minimised as possible. So we actually asked the surgeon, can you do it the other way? Which was a horizontal incision rather than a vertical one. And he then bluntly told us at the time, can't be done because it's we need access to this particular area, therefore we can't do it. But that interesting that Alicia is the one who was quite proud about it, and yet we were the ones who were particularly nervous when she was 4.5, thinking about what it's going to be like for her when she's older, and thinking along those terms, oh, this was, a much more serious issue here, not a cosmetic issue. So we got over that. As parents, we got over that pretty quickly.
What would I say to my 17-year-old self? That it's not that big a deal, that people generally don't care, and often people don't notice. I think the funny thing about it is that I find I don't notice scars and that in other people. It just doesn't hit my radar as much. I think it's from my experience growing up with a scar. I think I just reassure myself that it's really not that big a deal and it's okay. And there's a scar there for a reason, and if it wasn't for the scar, then I wouldn't be here today.